take a similar sort of route, not exactly the same route, but you could burst that smoke by standing over the cliff sort of thing.
Yeah.
So my advice would probably be to have a support standing over that cliff to try and see any incoming smoke before they'd be able to, make use of that.
Yeah.
And then you look at the ward locations. So it looks like of the 5 games, it's fairly spread out. There isn't a particular pattern there. And then you've got warding pre-game on the next page. You see that?
Yep.
So the red dots are 2 on this occasion. Yellow dots are 1. So again, it looks like pre-game. They're warding mid. They like the cliff above their off lane. Above their safe lane.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. Again, warding. And then you have heat maps. So you see J4's positioning.
I'm assuming that's probably their support, like their.
Yeah. So we look at their So it's always in order. So it's 4 then 5. So we always do the 4 first and the 5 second, as it were. So the 4, he roams. Looks like he's picking up the runes a lot, maybe whatever.
Yeah.
It's not stellar information. Like Spartan, our captain, he doesn't even really like looking at these whatsoever. Personally, I think it's more interesting. I mean, myself looking at this instantly, I can see that they will dual lane or tri lane, or they dual lane mid. There is information you can get from looking at that really briefly.
Yeah.
Milan, you can see he is a lot more static. There is a lot of pulling that goes on.
Yep.
You would assume on that small camp, an awful lot of pulling that goes on in the big camp. Small rotations around mid. That's probably TP support, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it looks like he's TPing into the woods right next to mid tower.
Yeah, that is what I would read from it. But again, Spartan doesn't like looking at this. There is only a certain amount of information that you want to take from any game.
Yeah.
Dire Smoke, this is something that I haven't really perfected yet. It's meant to indicate the amount of times that they pop a smoke in this area, but generally the first 10 minutes it's generally just picking up smokes in the fountain where they smoke TP at the beginning of the game. Again, and then we go on to Radiant. So then you got the drafting. So something that's not particular clear. So the gold around the box is the winner. So you can see winning and losing drafts that they've done. Planet Dog are always on the left-hand side. And you see the little yellow arrows underneath the first pick or first ban? That is when they have first pick.
Oh, that's smart.
So that's how they draft when they have first pick, and you can see how they draft
the puck nicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean that's that they've banned that first time they have first pick every time, for example. And other than that, it looks like because they basically want Night Stalker. You can see that they want Night Stalker. If they don't have first pick, they've been banning Night Stalker a lot more often. If they have first pick, they just pick up the Night Stalker.
Oh, I see.
So you could probably prioritize banning a Night Stalker against them in this example.
Yeah.
Again, more of the same stuff as we go down, and we'll go down to page 18, which is the next stuff of interest. You see draft summary.
Yep.
So this is picks and bans by stage. So this is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Picks at the top, bans at the second. So you can see that they pick Quap up in the first phase, Night Stalker if it's available. They also like the Clock and Sand King as roaming supports. Dragon Knight, fuck knows what that's all about, but whatever, it's personal
Push
preference.
strat, I guess.
Yeah, possibly so, yeah. I don't know I don't know, whatever. And then you got the bans who obviously hate Nyx.
Yeah.
And then you got first pick combos. Sometimes this brings out something interesting. More often than not, it doesn't. So on this occasion, there's nothing really to go for. Yeah, I mean that's only twice though. Yeah, Quad +1. That is the general theme of it, right? But what that +1 is,
varies decently.
Generally a support. I guess generally your roaming support maybe, but that's not nailed on. Yeah, not by any stretch actually. And then again, this context page. Sometimes this has got really good stuff on it. Sometimes it hasn't. It doesn't look to me on this instance that there is anything good. So the first line down is QOP. So the first four on the left side of when they pick QOP,
Yeah.
what they ban, what they opponents pick, what the opponents ban, what they pick with it. So there aren't any real combos here. Like on the pick side, there's only two. So it's not like sometimes there are standout ones. There was a team that we played against that when they picked Disruptor, they were picking Ursa like all the time. So when you see that Disruptor pick, you know, right, all right, we either got to pick Ursa or we got to ban it. It's unlikely you're going to take Disruptor Ursa in the first phase, so you'd probably just ban it second phase. Top picks per player, that for some reason is on the page below it, should be. And this is again position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
Although it looks like they're 4
looks
and
like
they're
it's
5.
a 5. Oh, they look switch roles a bit, based on hero.
Yeah, that or maybe that 4 and the 5 are just the wrong way round.
Yeah.
As you do have a Spirit Breaker as well. I think it's weird to think that you'd pick a Spirit Breaker as a 5.
I'm assuming you guys use Dota buff to like where you got the original like information.
I think it's easier to use Open Dota or whatever they're called now.
Yeah.
Because I think they have an API available, basically.
So, and then you have a program that like just sifts through like the information and puts it in like in graphs in like organized manner, or
exactly that.
Like,
yeah.
What is? Yeah. All right.
That's
you find like. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Well, I was just gonna ask, like, so you find that like some of this information can be helpful, and some of it, like, you're not really sure like how helpful it is.
Okay, so
I mean, it's just like
the only thing that's ever going to help your team is something that your captain wants to take on. Okay, so I say to any team, I can provide you with loads and loads of stuff, but if your captain doesn't think it's important, or your support doesn't want to read about this, then I won't provide it, because the most important thing to each player, they know what that is, right? Your captain wants to know about draft, for example. That is most captains' wish list. I want to know what they're going to draft. There's no hard and fast answer to that, but you can give some indication. Now, how they want to see it is the most important thing. It's taken us about a year that we can tinker with the things that we've done. So when I work with Mouse Sports, I can provide what Spartan wants to see in fairly short period of time.
Yeah.
When I work with, when we were in Kiev, I worked briefly with, when Mouse Sports were knocked out, I worked briefly with Virtus Pro, and they wanted sort of like different timings on the ward placements and stuff like that. So because we've got a program that we sort of created, it's fairly quick for us just to insert different times and it will spit something different out for us. So realistically, what I would do is sit down with whoever your captain is and get him to have a good, like, you don't need to rush these things, just have a good think about what is important to me, what do I want to see, what do I think is going to help me. And that's a super fucking hard thing for any captain to do. Like, Spartan still can't tell me now what kind of information he wants to see and how he wants to see it. Because I say to him, you know, if you can tell me, just make something up, even just, you know, have a guess at what might be useful, and I'll just go and create it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, yeah, you have the tools, you have all of the tools to, like, get whatever information you need, but, like, what information is useful to a captain?
It's prevalent,
like,
yeah.
It's like, what, like, who knows? Like, it's just, like, it's still, like, on the forefront of this. Like, this is, like, relatively, like, new stuff. Like, so, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because the other thing is, you can have something that you create that you think is amazing, but if your captain doesn't think so and it doesn't get taken on, it's just fucking useless. It's not going to be used. So what's the point in creating it? You can look for patterns on, you know, what players do. One of the things I always look for, like, how does the offlaner approach his lane at the beginning? But it's kind of not anything that you can write down. I think one of the most important things, you can always see patterns with offlaners. You know, some of them like to pull that wave, and obviously if you know that they've got a Batrider and where he's going to hide, or the mat, or whatever that hero is that wants to pull that initial lane, you can really punish them for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just having the time to sit down and watch these replays and know what you're looking for. But once you've done it 100 times, you can do it pretty quickly. It's just having somebody that's got the time to
I would guess.
And just to know what you're looking for, because you will get quicker at it.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, you're when you're first starting, like you're not really sure what information. Like there's so much information, and you're not really sure what to look for. And then as time goes on, it's a lot quicker. You know what you're looking for, and you just get it. So. Yeah.
Well, I hope that is of some help to you guys. I know it's fairly.
That was really eye-opening. And, that's going to be really helpful.
All right, I have one last question. Oh,
sure.
All right, this is kind of silly, but biggest thing you learned when working with pro teams, just like general anything, just like biggest thing that you think you've learned in Dota wise.
Oh, that's a really tough question. Biggest thing I learned. One of the biggest things that surprised me actually is like how serious they take it, how much they practice, how much they pour over replays. You know, they will sit down with each other and they will argue a lot, but none of it's an argument. You know, it's
just bouncing ideas in a way. It's just aggressive with people.
They get heated, they shout at each other, and then when somebody says, right, that's enough, time to move on, that's it. They just move on, and you just have to have that kind of unity,
discipline
in your team. You have to be able to sit down, and somebody has to be able to take the criticism from other players when they're watching a replay and not take it personally.
But they watch replays as like all 5, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to do though, right?
Yeah.
For a team that aren't boot camping.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Maybe I don't know if
one person streams it on Twitch or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, unless everybody just goes, right, okay, go minute 24 here.
And then someone shouts pause and they all pause. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just have to be able to take that criticism on, because nobody's doing it to do, like if you're
everyone's
playing
doing
with
it to improve, not to.
Yeah, nobody's doing it just to dig someone out, right? Because you're never going to improve until you like understand, because part of that is understanding how the other person thinks as well. Because you can say to them, listen, I think this is the wrong decision because of X, and he might actually turn around and say to you, no, actually the reason I did this is because of Y. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. And you just have to sort of know what each other's going to do, and one of the best ways of doing that is by having these discussions. And it has to be honest, it has to be frank. If you think you're going to upset anyone with it, then that's unfortunate, but it has to be said, and people just have to be able to take that on board, I think.
Really quick, another question.
Sure.
Do you work with like coaches that coach like mechanics, or that help improve like conceptual ideas that past 10 minutes? Like, you work with any of like Blitz coaching Liquid? I imagine he's not doing what you're doing.
No. So there was a coach we worked with called Conman. He had played with some of the the Mouse ad finum guys, whatever you want to call them, when they were in Golden Boys.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
That was a team before they were ad finum, basically. They're a bunch of Greek guys that just sort of know each other and have played together for a number of years. And he deals with the coaching side, but again, basically, some of the stuff that he does is take the information that I provide and make more sense of it, if you know what I mean. He can look at something that I provide and say, the reason...
He can translate it.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't necessarily... So one of the things that he is really against as a coach is telling the team how to play or telling the team what to draft.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to come up with that by themselves. You can make a suggestion. You can say, oh, hey guys, what do you think about this draft, for example? But you should never tell them or encourage them to do something that isn't their own idea. The most important thing is that the guys are pulling that direction themselves, because as a coach, if you're telling these guys how to play, that's the wrong step. That's one of the things that Eternal Envy did when he was with DC. He was trying to get his point across to the guys, to the point that he was saying, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they were like, well, hang on a fucking second, man. You're just, you know, you're just a, you know, and you just get ill feeling if your guy is saying,
You know,
this
do
is
X,
what you
Y,
have
Z.
to be doing. Yeah. You have to accept that the team have a play style. Each individual person has a play style within that play style, and if you come up with a third line of play style, the whole thing's fucked. The best thing you can do is figure out how each individual's play style can fit into a team play style, and that's tough. Like, one of the main problems we have with Mouse Sports is, I don't want to start naming names, but one of the players, I think a lot of the players believe, is too greedy. And it comes to a point where some of them are frustrated that that person is not getting involved. And it's actually not Madara, it's not the carry, it's not who you'd think. So
Oh no, it's the me of Dota. I know, I
Madara
play
plays-
mid, yeah.
Madara plays like 0 hard farming safe lanes.
yeah, well, he got to play anti. Did you see
Yeah,
the?
the AM game, but
And then he plays it as an aggro tri lane.
yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Necro safe lane was perfect for
Yeah.
Mouse, man. That was like, that was the dream when they could just put Madara on Necro every game and win.
Yeah, well, one of the only times I've sort of had a discussion with the team to say, hang on, this is not fucking working, guys. This is, you have to choose your moments really carefully. But one of the times I had to say it was when we were in Kiev, and we were picking this Keeper of the Light with Ember Spirit, and we were trying to do some split pushing bullshit. And I said to the guys, listen, this is just not what we do. When you speak to, you know, you mentioned Blitz before. When I spoke with Blitz, he said, when we scrim against you guys, you're one of the fastest paced teams
And
that
sitting
we've
back
ever
with
seen.
a Coddle and Ember and just split pushing very slowly.
And I can see a Cottle sitting in a bush on top lane. I can see a Legion commander sitting in a bush in bottom lane, and I can see an Ember Spirit farming a jungle, and I'm just like, oh my god, are you actually kidding me? Like, this is everything that this team is not.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's my opinion.
I've been playing Path of Exile, so I didn't even realize you hopped in here. But Dusty, I'm the captain of the team, obviously the one that messaged you on Twitter. But I actually wanted to, if you had the time, send a draft your way, and I also had a pretty specific question while I find some of this stuff. But having MNT to work with, you know, one of the best, if not the best bounty player in the world. Like, Bounty's my most played hero. So obviously I love that hero. I want to make it work all the time, but I feel like he's just not strong right now, and I feel like Ricky is just a stronger bounty, essentially, in that forward position right now.
Yeah, MNT says the exact same thing.
Oh, thank God. I'm going to put on my MNT jersey and wear it all day now.
Yeah, he says to himself that Ricky is a way stronger scaler and everything than Bounty is at the moment.
One of the things that I notice.
It's funny when I speak to him about Ricky and Bounty, and he does such subtle things that I've never noticed before. Like, you know, when you start with the Orb of Venom.
Yep.
And in your pubs, the Ricky or Bounty will go and contest the safe lane.
Yep.
But he always contests the mids one, and he says the reason that he'll sometimes not take, you know, he'll get the hit in, which sometimes will cost him getting the rune, but he says the reason he does that is because if you hit the mid laner with the Orb of Venom, you can slow him enough that it means he can't get back to block his creep wave.
Yep. One thing that I do frequently, I think Ricky's our most picked hero in the current league that we're in right now. I'll take the rune and then obviously hold the attack animation, and then I get in a position where I can be in between the mid and his creep block, because you can body block with Ricky while you're invis. So I'll try to body block and not throw the hit.
Yeah. I think I don't know, whatever works best for you, but I personally, like, I'm not a very good player, right? But I didn't realize that such a big thing of that is ensuring that the mid lane doesn't get his block off. Which, when you think about it that way, is just enormous, really. If you get, well, it's not. I mean, if some mid laners can deal with it, right? But it's pretty good if you can get if you're on the mid lane.
Most heroes need the early lane control.
We had a match that we played. I was Ricky and they had a Lena mid. I took Lena's bounty to start, and then we were dire, so she was coming down the steps to her lane, and I blocked her in between the light post and myself, and just stood there and held my animation. And she was stuck for 15 seconds, so she missed an entire wave of farm.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know how much she's moaning at that point, right?
Yeah. So let's see. One of the things that I noticed, because I play +4 in draft, kind of strange, but it's just one of those things. I find myself drafting a lot right now. Lineups that are kind of weak in stun but high in other forms of CC, whether it's, silence. We've been playing a lot of disruptor because he's pretty strong this patch. So we've got the CC, but we tend to kind of just like lack the stun, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no. Everyone talks about stun. I'm not quite convinced that you definitely need it. It's an obvious thing to have, but like you say, if you've got a disruptor, I think stun is just another form of crowd control, right?
Right.
And I'd even put in Veno with that, with the Q on Veno. Any form of big slow like that, is you're not running away from it. So does it matter if he's standing still, or okay, there are some things you can do when stunned that there are some things that you can do when you're slowed that you can't do when you're stunned. But I think it's just a different form of crowd control. I personally wouldn't worry too much about getting a stun on every occasion. And if that's your concern, I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I wouldn't go shoehorning like a Dragon Knight is your mid when you don't want it just because he has a stun, for instance.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And one thing that I've considered, we haven't drafted a lot of Sven, even though he's Sven right now. So I'm gonna start trying to incorporate that in a bit. I sent you a few drafts, kind of a few different things.
I'm just looking back at some of our drafts, and like, here's a draft that we played well: Silencer, Lifestealer, Queen of Pain, Treant, and Batrider. And realistically, I don't think you can count Treant's ult as a stun because it's unreliable in as much as time frame.
Right.
It's such a long cooldown that you're not classing that as a stun. And Batrider's ult, again, like, I wouldn't consider it a stun. It's a disable, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Was that against Planet Dog?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I remember that game because I kept getting pissed at Thug for just solo ulting someone that didn't need it.
Yeah. Kill secured. The one that annoyed me the most was the game that we lost with Chen.
Yep.
Because we hadn't, as far as I'm aware, we hadn't even been practicing that. Spartan is so scared of Chen and Enchantress. There is two least favorite heroes to play against that I basically think he just took himself into picking it through fear, basically. So I don't know.
It's one of those things too. You try to get crafty with a deny pick and it ends up being super greedy. We actually did that in one of our matches. Let's see if I can pull up the draft real quick. I ended up kind of pigeonholing ourselves into a drow pick when we didn't want to, because their first picks were they banned Bounty and Ricky, which are target bans against myself, and then they first picked Ogre and Chen. and then Venge with 13. So I'm like, oh, they're obviously gonna look for the Drow. Swiped up the Drow. They ended up running the Venge safe lane, grabbed the Centaur off lane, and then Viper mid. So just kind of had.
So hang on, they picked up Ogre Drow, and then they picked up Venge.
No, Ogre Chen.
Ogre Chen, sorry.
I sent
then
you a
they
link
picked
to the
up
match on
Venge.
Discord. If
All
you'd
right,
like
hang
to
on.
look at it, yeah. I know I have the same problem if you're having when people list off like 10 different heroes.
Yeah.
Which one is it? The third one?
This is
Yep.
Oh,
game-
that
game
was- I've got-
2
Cooper should have messaged you this one.
on Discord.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me look here. Okay, so you've picked up Drow because of the Venge pickup.
Yep. So they picked up the Venge, and at
But
that point,
Where would they have laned the Drow?
that's the thing. I thought that they would run something like a Venge mid, just try to do something cheeky like that because of the TA ban. But
Yeah, I
no. In hindsight, that does make sense that the Drow wouldn't have really fit into their lanes. They would have had to almost forfeit mid.
Yeah,
and Drow or Venge mid would have lost to like any hero. in
Yeah,
Dota.
I think you've probably overthought it at that point.
A little bit. I tend to do that sometimes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's,
no, that's
it's
a valid-
very easily done. It really is easily done. That's any drafter's biggest problem, probably, is that you try and think about things too much to the point where you actually forget about the simple things.
Yeah,
And I know
especially,
that sounds
like,
ridiculous, but
at this MMR as well. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure we're pretty similar. Because you're what, like 3.5k or something.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're right around there. I think our team average is like 3.6 or something. So, with a lot of that, I wasn't really expecting Venge carry, but looking back on it, there was really nothing
They
else.
already
to
grabbed both
expect
their
in this
supports.
scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unless they were planning on running like Chen off lane or shit, then that would have.
Yeah.
I quite like your Nature's Prophet with the Drow, though. I actually quite like your draft there in general.
Yeah, I think we fell through in execution too. That game was just rough.
That game, you guys.
We shuffled around our mid, our off lane, and our safe lane.
Yeah, with that draft, our carry player who we had at the time, this roster changes happen all the time in amateur tournaments.
Yeah, for sure.
Our carry player had some stuff come up and ended up leaving, but he was on the OD mid that game because we picked the Drow, and then he's like, guys, I really don't feel comfortable on Drow, which carry player Drow.
Yeah.
But
Whatever.
anyway, so we ended up shifting our roles around. So we had our safe lane as our mid, our off lane as our safe lane, and then our carry as our off lane.
You mean your
So-
mid as your off lane?
Or yeah, sorry. Well, you end up carrying us most games anyways. But
Something
yeah,
like that.
so it was one of those things. But I do enjoy the draft. One of the things that we've experimented as well is Fury on mid, because our mid player Cooper, who's in here with us, is
Sup?
strong on micro heroes.
Oh, right, nice.
So he's
We have to
he's
pick
a-
Visage. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts
he's
on
a-
Visage?
oh man.
If you've got a Visage player, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good hero.
I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, so Cooper can play like Meepo, LD mid, all of that stuff, so we can get a bit crafty. We picked a lot of arcs.
LD
or arc
fun.
mid.
Oh, Wondred's the best hero in Dota.
Nature's Prophet. I'm really quite strong on Nature's Prophet at the moment. I mean, if you can get a Lycan with him, it's hilariously good.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What are your views on just like, because we tend to play greedier fours. Occasionally you'll have that with something like when MNT picks a bounty or when MNT is on the bounty, you'll have something that can't really, bounty won't have that safe lane impact that a different support could have in the 4 spot. So like, what do you think are good, I guess you could say independent 5, someone that can kind of win the lane for the carry by themselves and handle the zoning of typical offlaners right now?
Bane's pretty strong at that.
Wait,
I mean-
what hero was that? You like cut
Yeah.
out for like a perfect second.
Yeah, Bane.
Oh, that was a hero I was thinking. Woo!
Yeah, Bane is solid. We pick a lot of Disruptor, Witch
Disruptor,
Doctor.
very good. Yeah, Disruptor and Bane would probably be my top 2 picks, I would have thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bane also gives, a lot of disable with the alt if you can get a glimmer cape or anything, and then
I mean,
yeah, that's good.
if you saw our games as silencer with the position 4, I really like that at the moment as well.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with a bit of 5 silencer as well. If you can just have a team that can kind of group early and take fights, or smoke up, get picks with global, you can get some stolen into on silencer, and he can have 4 or 3 impact with little to no fun.
Oh yeah, I mean silencer. I mean Spartan, when he played it a few times, you get involved with you just get near to a couple of kills and that starts ticking up, and you are right clicking for a chunk of change before you know it.
Let's see. Just trying to sure I didn't forget any.
I had a
Did-
question.
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Yo,
Do you guys like gather information? Like, what about when teams change rosters? Like, do you have to gather information on that player, or are you just like doing their like most recent game and collecting their information on them?
yeah, so that's a really valid point, because it's fortunately in the sort of tier 1 bracket.
Not a lot of people change, at least until after TI.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter so much, especially when you're working at a major, because you've either got major qualification where you've got a whole heap of games,
Yeah.
or if they're a automatic invite, then they probably haven't changed their roster anyway, right? Because they were not by nature.
So you're not really dealing with that problem then.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main problems we had was sort of Planet Dog. I think we played them second in the group stages, and we had no information on them in the group stage because they were a brand new team. I think they'd left out one of the players, right? And realistically, you can still look at what the drafts. Personally, I think you should always be drafting to what you want to draft. If you're a support player, instead of
having a plan instead of reacting, like.
Yeah, I would be disappointed if I said, oh, I want to draft Disruptor here, and my support said I can't play Disruptor.
Yeah.
It's the same as your carry not being able to play Drow. It's just a concern, It's like, you might not want to play Drow, but if you can't play Drow, how long have you been playing carry for?
Right.
I don't mean to belittle anyone about it, but it's a,
Pretty straightforward hero.
Yeah, I mean, I can make exceptions. Mostly like on micro heroes. Midara thinks that he can play. He thinks that he can play all of these micro heroes. His Nature's Prophet is not as good as Skylark's, although he, I sat behind him trying to shuffle these trees around, and it's getting better. And I said, buddy, you can just click on them and just move them all to the fountain, and they'll do their own
with
thing
like
eventually.
ads?
Don't worry about them. Yeah. Or without the axe, just once you make the trees, just attack, move, fountain. Don't worry about it, buddy. If you can't do it, you can't do it. You can do other things. Yeah, he didn't like it. He thinks he's a really good. Yeah, he thinks he's a really good micro.
Oh man.
Sometimes you just have to admit it's not your thing, though, right?
Oh yeah, like I love to play Chen, but God, if I ever chain off my stuns properly, it's a good ass day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the easiest of things, right?
You think, I know you're probably pretty busy with actual stuff that matters, but would you be willing to, I don't know, like hang around the Discord? I'll make a roll so people can't bug you, but I doubt people figure out that Bonkers is,
Yeah, people don't bug me.
I was gonna say, but yeah, I would, I mean, if you'd be willing to, I would be happy to kind of throw you in, one of our fancy coaches roles, so you could, you could view all of our team chat logs and stuff, and then maybe if you ever have free time, kind of tune in and watch a replay with us, so we can get your perspective on things too.
Yeah, sure, by all means.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm gonna jump off and go and play with a friend though now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thanks a lot. This is actually
Thank
a lot
you,
of information.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, if you have any, no worries. If you have any other questions, just ping me. Let me know.
Yeah. I will do.
Okay, cool. What are the chances that you can get me in a pub game with MNT?
Now, funnily, like MNT is like one of the only guys that will play a pub game with me out of the entire team, but it's generally on a Friday night. So,
Hey,
yeah.
that's fine. If you literally message me and you're like, "Hey, MNT said he'll play a pub with you at this time," if it's 6 a.m., I will wake up at 6 a.m., dude. I went to Boston and I like almost cried because I missed the meet and greet because I went for the final 2 days. But dude, like, oh man, like I am huge MNT fanboy.
I'll message him. Hang on.
I've got his jersey in my room. Like, I wear it when I play in matches. It's crazy. He knows I exist, though. He tweets to me sometimes.
I'll message him. Hang on.
Cool.
See if he's about.
Get you thrown into that role. I was gonna say it doesn't have to be right now. I'm getting ready to head over to my brother's house to help him with some yard work. But like, if you guys plan on, I don't know what time it is for you guys because I'm really bad with time conversions. But if you guys plan on playing in, you know, a few hours, then I can definitely make that work.
Yeah. Well, I've messaged him. It says he's online, but more often than not, he's always online.
AFKing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. Like I said, you'll be in the Discord anyway. So if he replies, then feel free to just ping me whenever.
Yeah, no worries. Who is it that's saying that?
Dusty. I mean, if you want to message Abed too, well, you know, talk to him.
Yeah. Abed I've spoke with once because I'm quite close with Bulba.
Ah.
He's I met
I talked to
Bulba
Abed's father once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
As good as, right?
I asked the when he was on Execration. Yeah, Execration. I messaged
yeah.
their manager if I could talk to Abed at all, and then he gave me his father's Twitter. So then I messaged his father, and like just said hi.
Yeah, when I met Abed, it was when there were the team Digital Chaos in Kiev, and
Yeah.
Bulba wanted to introduce me to his team. He actually wanted me to coach their team when I was, but I said,
wow.
"Listen, dude, that ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen." And the one person that struck me as not what I expected at all on that team was Mason. He's actually a really nice guy. Like, he's got a really bad reputation as being a bit of a dick, right?
Yeah, on in pubs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but he remembered my name, and I just had a chat with him at first, and he showed interest in me, which was kind of surprising. But I just thought, fucking whatever.
Congrats.
And that was just in the pre, you know, when we're just boot camping and playing each other and stuff in scrims. And then at the after party, he came up to me and he said, "Oh, hey, Alan, how you doing?" And I said, "Oh, like, how do you remember my name?" And he says, "I remember you. Don't worry about that." And it was kind of like, oh, I thought, oh, fucking hell, you know, it's actually pretty cool. He's actually paid attention and to somebody that he didn't need to, sort of thing. So
Yeah, that's awesome. It must be crazy, like, just being around players of that caliber. Like, I'm friends with Shredder on Steam. He used to play for Leviathan. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. But he hasn't played pro in a while, but like I'm friends with him on Steam and like Facebook and stuff because my brother used to play with him. So like I talk to him from time to time, and he's just like telling me about all these pros that he plays pubs with, and I'm like, man, I had Wraith King Jungle the other day.
yeah, that does still happen, right? Right. Well, he said maybe.
Cool.
That's about as good as I get from him. So
that's fine, dude.
It would normally be about this sort of time on a Friday. We've played a few times.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. If he ever decides to, feel free to just yell at me until I respond. Yeah,
no drama.
I will. I'll actually send you my Steam profile real quick as well. I just PM'd it to you, so feel free to send me an ad if you would like, and you know, if you're around, play some or whatever when it's convenient for you.
Hang on a second. How do I actually get this? Oh, fucking hell! I'm trying to figure out how to.
Oh yeah, it opens it in like Chrome or whatever.
Yeah.
The man that can make the most beautiful spreadsheets I've ever seen.
Can't figure out how a friend request works. There's a lot of people called Dusty. I've just searched it.
Crazy.
Can't you
Send-
normally? Is there not a way of getting a number or something? I'm sure there's a way of getting a number, wasn't
Oh,
there?
in actual Dota, yeah, the friend ID thing.
Yeah.
Friend ID.
Yeah.
If you send me, just DM me your Steam and then I'll add you.
You know how to do it, yeah. That's probably
Yeah,
makes more
I'll figure it out. You've done enough work for us today.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at this sort of thing. Copy
Oh,
page.
Visage Familiars don't trigger mines. Oh, that's cool.
What, like
Think-
Techie's
is that
mines?
right?
Yeah,
Is that the right
exactly.
link?
Techie's mines.
Yes, that is right. Oh
There you
man,
go.
if Techies ever gets put into CM, I'm gonna be a happy man.
Right, I've just got another one. What's? I've got a lot. It's Dusty, isn't it?
Yeah, I just sent you a request.
There you go now. Alrighty then. Well, good luck, guys.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for
much.
thank you for stopping in. I will I'll ping you because I'm sure we'll be going over replays at some point. What time is it for you right now? Just so I know time conversion, so I'm not pinging at like 2 a.m.
It's 8 p.m. now.
8 p.m. Okay, so you're like 5 hours ahead. Okay, cool. We will try to work out a day where we can have you join us for a replay review, and I will, if I need anything.
Alright, fellas, take care.
All right,
Thanks,
cool. Thank
man.
you, Alan. Have a good night.
Thank you, man.